In this video, we're going to show you how to take advantage of the deployment feature in Mail and Deploy. With deployments, you can move reports and tasks from a development server to your production server, in other words, from your source environment to your target environment. To use this feature, there must be two servers, two separate instances of Mail and Deploy, each with its own license key. These servers should be connected, meaning the source server must be able to reach the target server. In our example, the source is on a private network, and the target is in a cloud environment. In this setup, deployment can only work in one direction, from development to production. If both servers are in public networks, then you can deploy in both directions, from development to production and from production back to development. Another important requirement is that both servers must be running the same version of Mail and Deploy. This is very important. Sometimes your development environment might be running a higher version because you installed it to test a new feature. In that case, you'll need to upgrade the production environment to the same version before deploying. When you deploy a report, Mail and Deploy will either create it from scratch in the target environment or update the existing report there. This is the typical use case. You make additions or changes in your development environment, then you hit deploy, and those changes appear in your production environment. It works the same way for tasks. If the task doesn't exist in the target, it's created. If it does exist, it's replaced with the new version. One important note: execution plans are not deployed. This is because they are very likely configured differently in development and production. For example, in development, you might not have execution plans at all, while in production, they contain the real schedules you rely on. Deploying them could overwrite important production settings, so they are left untouched. When deploying tasks and reports from one server to another, here are the most important things to keep in mind. Workspaces. The workspace must have exactly the same name in both environments. Data sources. These are not deployed automatically. This is because data sources often connect to different Qlik environments. For example, your Mail and Deploy SaaS environment might connect to your Qlik SaaS testing environment, while production connects to your live Qlik SaaS. You'll need to set them up manually, and the names must be exactly the same. Users and user groups. These are normally different in development and production. While you may have test users or groups in development, production will have real recipients. Email server. The email server configuration will be copied from development to production only if it doesn't already exist in production. If it does exist, it will remain unchanged. Global variables. These work the same way as the email server. They are transferred only if they don't already exist in the target. This is because global variables often point to real FTP servers or SharePoint locations in production, while in development they point somewhere else. Where do you activate the deployment settings? In the Management Console, go to Settings Deployment. This is where you add your target server and configure the connection. In the deployment settings for the workspace content is where the actual deployment is done. Here, you add the name, description, and the items you want to include in the deployment. Let's go through an example together. Our source is a local machine, and our target is a SaaS environment. We have a workspace called Deployments Demo. It has two data sources, both pointing to the local Qlik sense, one with the Executive Dashboard app and one with the Supporting app. Our workspace also contains two reports, the Regional Sales Report and the Sales Rep Analysis, plus one task and some value tables. If we want to deploy all of this into our SaaS environment, here's what we do. Step 1. Go to Settings Deployment. We already have our SaaS environment connected. This was done by creating a deployment profile, giving it a name, choosing a protocol, and adding the host and port. Opening it shows our SaaS deployment profile. Note that the deployment section is visible only in higher Mail and Deploy versions. Step 2. In the SaaS environment, create a new workspace. The workspace name must match exactly, so copy and paste it to avoid hidden spaces or typos. Step 3. Connect to the SaaS app Executive Dashboard. This is the real production data source. In the Data Sources section, create a new SaaS data source with exactly the same name. Again, copy and paste the name. Enter the URL and API key, and don't forget to rebuild the cache the first time. A quick tip: check Set Filter before rebuilding the cache to speed up the process. Repeat the same steps for the supporting app. Now the data sources are ready, and when we send reports and tasks from the source to the target, they will connect to the correct apps in production. Step 4. In the source environment, go to Deployments and create a new deployment. Choose the target, give it a name, add the items you want to include, and click Save. In the SaaS environment, we can now see the reports we just deployed. We repeat the same process for the task, and now the deployed task is also there. You can deploy everything at once if you prefer. In the deployment section, you can check the logs to confirm everything worked or see if any errors occurred. Now let's make a change in our development environment and redeploy to see the result. We open the report, change the title, and remove some text. Then we redeploy. We select the target, give the deployment a name, add the item, and click OK. Mail and Deploy completes the deployment, and when we open the report in our SaaS environment, we see the updates immediately. The title is shorter, and the table is gone. And that's it. That's how you can use the deployment feature in Mail and Deploy to move reports and tasks from development to production. Thanks for watching.